بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد خاتم الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى آله وأصحابه الطيبين الطاهرين. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Can I request everyone to be seated? Kids, can you please sit down? Do not distract yourselves or anyone. Just sit down, listen carefully. You will learn a lot and you will benefit a lot, inshallah. I can see, mashallah, a good number of kids here. Tomorrow is the first school day after a very long school holiday. I can see all the parents very excited to get rid of the children after a long holiday. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our families and our children. I come to you tonight with a bit of a heavy heart. I have too many things running in my head. I want to talk about all of them, but I will consider the time allowance given to me. The first thing is election. Many people approach me and ask, is it halal to vote or not halal? It doesn't work like that. It's not about halal and haram. Voting or nominating somebody or candidating somebody to take a position of authority has two sides. The first side is, what is the value of your voice or your vote? If you think you can make a change, and this is a positive change, then it becomes a responsibility and you are held accountable for not fulfilling your obligation and your responsibility. Number two, you have to be aware that no one on earth, anywhere, in any nation, will be allowed to exercise any position of authority without permission of Allah. The scholar said, one of the contemporary scholars said, when he was talking to the president of Egypt at that time, he said to him, وَعْلَمْ, keep in mind, أنه لن يحكم أحد في ملك الله إلا بمراد الله. No one is going to exercise any position of authority in the kingdom of Allah without the permission of Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow people to exercise some kind of authority with His permission. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes tested the people with their leaders and tested the leaders with their followers. لِنَبْلُوَ بَعْضَكُمْ بِبَعْضٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tests you with each other to see what's going to be your reaction. So this is a very, very delicate situation. You need to be very mindful who you candidate and who you nominate and who you vote for. You also need to understand another fact about this kind of exercise. The exercise of voting and election. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Do not aid or assist or help one another to further promote mischief and fasad, corruption on earth. But help one another and each other to create a positive life for people. Happiness, goodness, not evil on earth. The other thing is, when there is a necessity for a community to fill up a position and nobody stand up for this position, then all of them will become guilty. Because somebody has to stand up for the position. Somebody has to be there. And when somebody finds in himself the qualification to fill this position and to be in this authority, to exercise this authority, he has to stand up and nominate himself. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks about Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam and the danger that was facing or coming on the way of humanity. There was an expectation of the whole entire population of the Middle East to be wiped out, to starve to death. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made his own arrangement to send Yusuf alayhi salam from his homeland to Egypt as a slave, and created a situation for his siblings to get rid of him. And the whole story goes on to take Yusuf alayhi salam to prison, and from prison to the position of the treasurer of the country. And when he was released from the prison and nobody knew what is going to happen in the future, he put his name up forward and he nominated himself. He said to the king, "Ij'alni ala khada'in al-ard." Put me in the position of authority. I must be the governor. I must be the central bank governor. I have the qualifications. What are those two qualifications that you need to look for when you vote for any candidate? We've got Brother Ibrahim here. I'm not sure if you got those two qualifications or not, but maybe. He said, "Inni hafidhun alim." Two things. He said, I nominate myself for this position because I hold those two qualifications. Hafiz, I'm an honest person. I don't lie. Lying is not my profession. I don't play with words. I tell the truth. I'm honest. Yes, in politics, it is legitimate and justifiable to lie and to mislead and to provide false information just to stay in position or to numb the nation, numb the minds of the people, and relieve their pain by painkillers. But he said, "Ana hafiz, alim, I know what I'm doing. I'm not just a person who is hungry for power and I want to be there, even though I know nothing about nothing. No, I am qualified, I am fit for this position. I've got the knowledge, I got the skills, I got the guts to be in this position." So if you find in a candidate that he is honest, he is trustworthy, hafiz, alim, he is knowledgeable, he knows what he is supposed to do, then this person is right for this position. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam loved his companion so much, especially Abu Dharr. Abu Dharr, one of his most favorite companions. Abu Dharr came to him and he said, "Ya Rasulullah, I can see, mashallah, our country or the Muslim nation is growing, and we now, as a government in Medina, now ruling different cities and different territories and regions." He said, "Ij'alni ala fi wadifa, yani just put me a governor somewhere. It can be in Yemen, it can be in Najd, it can be somewhere. I can be a governor, I can be an MP for somewhere. I can be there. I can join the government." He put his hand on his shoulder and he said, "Ya Abu Dharr, I know you. Innaka da'if. You are weak." Weak doesn't mean that he got sick. No. His personality, his charisma, his character is such a very lenient and soft person. You need to be able to make decisions in very critical times. You're not supposed to collapse. You have to stand firm. You have to stand by the truth and nothing but the truth. He said, "إنك ضعيف وإنها أمانة." This is a responsibility. This is a trust. وإنها يوم القيامة حسرة وندامة. On the day of Qiyamah, it will be a source of regret and loss. Those people who are in authority and position, if they do not fulfill the rights of their responsibility or their position or their office, they will be accountable in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and they will regret being in these places. I'm not scaring off Brother Omar Ibrahim here. If you find yourself fit for the job, we are all here to make dua for you and say, "Allahumma walli umurana khiyarana wa la tuwalli umurana shirarana." Ya Allah, put in position of authority the best of us, not the worst of us. Because in the end, the benefit is going to prevail everyone. That's not something personal. I like Ibrahim, I vote for him, regardless if he's a good or bad person. No, it doesn't work like that. Vote for the fit person, the people who do that job. Because the benefit will cover everyone, not just a specific group of people. It's not something personal. When people deal with these issues with tribalism and nationalism and all of these kind of things, you find a lot of mess. Just because we like this guy, or we like this tribe, or we belong to this race or this ethnicity, we put the people in position from this background. This is the biggest source of corruption on earth. Stop talking about politics now. Let's just talk religion. Anyway, there are some events happening in Palestine. I think you have come across these events in the news or in the social media. And as you know, when things like that happen, people use different colors to color this picture. The news picture is colored with different colors. Some people for and some people against. And some people have to say something, even if they don't want to say it, but they have to say something. They have to be diplomatic, they have to be to play the game, and they have to say many things. But the reality that we have to believe in, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yansuru man yansuruh wa la yansuranna Allahu man yansuruh inna Allah laqawiyyun aziz. Those people who stand on the side of Allah, Allah will be standing on their own side. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is out of the equation when it comes to battling. No one can defeat Allah. This is invincible power. Allah said in the Quran, إِنْ يَنْصُرْكُمُ اللَّهُ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ وَإِنْ يَخْذُلْكُمْ فَلَا غَالِبَ لَكُمْ مِنْ بَعْدِهِ. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decides to support you and give you victory, no one is going to defeat you, regardless of what they have. If they got nuclear power, hydrogenic power, whatever kind of power they have, once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is right there in the battlefield, no one can overcome the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala removes His hands from the scene, then everything can happen. Expect everything to happen. Now the higher, the louder voice is the voice of the biggest gun. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, then no one can fight, no one can overcome the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is something to have to be clear. And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, that is 1400 years ago, لا تزال طائفة حول المسجد الأقصى. There will be always a group of people, طائفة, a group of people around المسجد الأقصى, the masjid in Jerusalem, ظاهرين على الحق. They will be always on the truth, supporting the truth. لا يضرهم من خذلهم. Nothing is going to defeat them, even if the whole entire world give up on them, or kind of disassociate with them, or do not support. If people leave them alone, they will be standing up on the truth. They will be there victorious. They will be victorious all the time. Maybe this is a group, maybe something else. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But what we have to understand, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow these things to happen, so they keep the balance between the powers. So no one can come up and say, or put his hand up and say, look, I got the undefeatable army. I got the strongest army. I got the biggest power in the world. No. You cannot stand one tiny soldier of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And remember in Corona, everyone was locked in their homes, and the tanks and the aeroplanes, the fighters, the F-16, all of these weapons and artilleries and tanks were helpless and lifeless, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's voice was louder than anyone's voice. SubhanAllah. So it is a journey, and we will have to go through this journey. And it's very short. Our journey here on earth is really very short. So do not waste your time doing nothing and earning nothing. Every day you need to earn more good deeds. Ibn al-Jawzi rahimahullah was one of the good scholars in the 7th century. He wrote something really very amazing. And I would like to share with you what he wrote and that will be our topic today. He said, listen carefully, he said, إِنَّ الطَّاعَ تذهب مشقتها ويبقى ثوابها وإن المعصية تذهب لذتها ويبقى عقابها. He said people are doing one of the two things, either ta'a, a good deed, or an act of goodness, ma'asiyah, or a sin, one of them. He said ta'a has some kind of inconvenience, some trouble. You know, getting up from your comfort zone, walking to the masjid, keeping yourself away from haram, doing something, doing all the things, minding your words, minding your thoughts, minding your vision, minding your income. To be mindful of all of that is not an easy task. You know, to walk to the masjid and to put yourself in this kind of inconvenience and leave the things that you really like is not something easy. There is some kind of discomfort, right? But once you've done the ta'ah, what goes away? The pain that involved with doing this ta'ah, this obedience, goes away. And the reward stays in. Right? On the other hand, al-ma'asiyah has some kind of pleasure and joy. I mean, people enjoy, fine. But this pleasure is temporary, it goes away. You know, if it's food, you just taste it and once it passes your tongue, it's gone. If it's a movie or it's a game, once it's done, the pleasure is gone. If it's any type of visual or physical sin, it is gone once you've done it. So ladhatuha, the joy goes away, and what remains? The punishment for it. So you got to choose what remains for you. Is it the reward of the ta'ah, of obedience, or the punishment of the sin? You see? Then he continues to say, he says, وَعْلَمْ, and keep in mind, أَنَّ الدُّنْيَا لَا تَحْلُو إِلَّا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ, that nothing is beautiful or enjoyable in this earth if it's not connected with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah is not in your heart and mind and tongue, there is no pleasure. You know what? Whatever you do to make yourself happy and Allah is not in the picture, it will be a source of depression and sadness. Subhanallah. I was talking to one of the brothers today, and he said, you know what? I learned it from my experience that I learned that this reality. He said, I leave my salah and I leave reading the Quran and I just go and smoke weeds. Spend my time on, like, you know, social media, playing, relaxing, enjoying, relaxing myself, entertaining myself. He said, in the beginning, I feel pleasures. I feel some kind of pleasure and joy. But you know what? After some time, I end up into depression and anxiety and, you know, sadness. And I just have all thoughts of suicide. I only recover from this state when I wake up and I connect back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said, وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ الدُّنْيَا لَا تَحْلُو إِلَّا بِذِكْرٍ فَقُمْ فِي اللَّيْلِ. Train yourself to wake up at night. This is a challenge. And we have to stand or to take this challenge. Have you ever tasted this kind of taste? The real pleasure. When your phone is there, the social media is not there, and the internet is not there, and everyone is asleep, and you wake up, and you know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is there, waiting for you, listening to you. Open your mouth and say, Ya Rab, Ya Allah, I am in pain, relieve my pain. Ya Allah, I am in trouble, take me out of this trouble. Ya Allah, I run out of my options, be my own option. Ya Allah, I am stuck, I don't know what to do. Help me to make a decision. Talk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Take Him as your best friend. Allah will not let you down. Wallahi, Allah will not let you down. If you make friends with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah will be your friend. And Allah doesn't run out of options. Allah doesn't run out of money. Allah doesn't run out of anything. Allah is the real owner of everything. He is the real owner of everything. We own nothing. Brothers and elders, we own nothing, wallahi. We own nothing. We don't even own the food that we put into our stomach. You know why? Tell me, if you own something and you want to keep it for yourself, because this is mine. When you eat food, can you keep it all the time for inside of you? No, you want to get rid of it. When you drink water, you need to release this water, because it has to go back again to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wherever Allah created it on earth, and it will go back again to earth. Because we don't even, wallahi, this body, the flesh and the skin and the blood we have, is not even us. We don't own it. Once the soul is out, what are you going to do with this body? Put it back again to earth. And then it will be dissolved and go back again to Allah. Allah is the owner of everything. We own nothing. So he said, you know, لا تحلو الدنيا إلا بذكره قم في الليل وقل يا رب واعلم أن الدنيا لا تطيب إلا بذكره والجنة لا تطيب إلا برؤيته. There is nothing in the Jannah better than looking at the face of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, everyone goes to the Jannah will be able to see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No, unfortunately, not everyone. Those people who go straight away to the Jannah without any stopover for punishment or discipline, they will be qualified for that. But those people who have to stop for some kind of correction or to pay off for their sins, they will not be allowed to get this kind of privilege. Subhanallah. So some people think it's fine to be sinful, it's okay to be in trouble in this dunya. Even if I die, but I have the shahada, the iman in my heart, even if I have to go to trouble, even if I have to go to hell, eventually Allah will take me out and put me in the Jannah. Well, it might happen anyway. But you know what? The biggest miss or the biggest loss that this person is going to lose is to lose this pleasure of seeing the Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is the top of all pleasures there in the Jannah. Subhanallah. أن الدنيا لا تطيب إلا بذكره وأن الجنة لا تحلو إلا برؤيته فاصفح عن الناس وعفو. Learn how to forgive the people. Don't stop at every situation and put yourself as a judge, a policeman, an inspector, interrogator, and just make a lot of investigation. Learn how to let go. Learn how to drop off the case. Why? فَإِنَّكَ وَهُمْ رَاحِلُونَ. You and those people who upset you, you will be all leaving. No one is going to stay here forever. I will go. The one who upset me will go, and everyone is going to leave. We will be all going to the same place. Subhanallah. وَلَا تُضَيِّعْ حَسَنًا. Do not waste one single good deed that comes in front of you. If a good deed comes in front of you, don't waste it. Don't just say, okay, I don't care. It's not a big deal, man. It is a big deal. You know what? He said in the end, فَإِنَّكَ لَا تَعْلَمْ. Listen carefully. أَيُّ حَسَنَةٍ تُدْخِلُكَ الْجَنَّةِ. You don't know which one of your good deeds Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept it to put you in the Jannah. Which one of them? Maybe you are relying on the big Ramadan that you have fasted, or the Hajj that you have done, or you are relying on the money that you donate, but you don't know, maybe picking up some rubbish from the street or from the masjid, is that one good deed Allah is looking for to put you in the Jannah. He doesn't care about what you have done in the past. There was a man who lived in the past, about 1,300 years ago. He lived in Basra, the city of Basra in Iraq. His name was Fath al-Mawsili. In Iraq, the government was the central government for the Muslim empire was there. So one day he was on the street and one of his friends come across him. He noticed that he doesn't look very well. He thought he is sick. He said, "Are you okay, Fath?" He said, "Yeah, I'm okay." And he was actually holding some tissues or something in his hand, trying to sort of like dry up his eyes. He said, "Are you in tears? Are you crying?" He said, no, I'm fine. He said, no, you are crying. He said, no, I'm fine, don't worry about me, I'm fine, I'm okay. Then he had a good look at the handkerchief in his hand, the tissues in his hand, and he noticed that it's actually red. It's actually red. It means that this man is crying, but not tears. He's actually shedding blood from his eyes. He said, are you crying blood? To this extent, you are in so much sadness or pain. Why you are crying? He said, I cannot think about standing in front of Allah and let go of it. I don't know what I'm going to do. Every time I remember this situation, I just can't help myself. I cry. And I said, Ya Allah, I'm so weak. I don't know what answer I can give to you. I can lie to the people here and people believe me. I can say, Ya Allah, I can say 1, 2, 3, I can say many things here to the people. People will believe me. But I can't lie to you. I can't lie to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى سبحانه وتعالى يعلم السر وأخفى. He knows the secret and the secret of the secret. He said, every time I look, I think about it, I can't stop myself from crying, from the fear of standing in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Panicked. I feel panicked. I feel panicking because of this situation. Every time I look at it, and then I can't cry. And then he said to him, but crying doesn't mean that you keep crying until you end up shedding blood. He said, that's it, I don't know. That's something out of my hand. I'm such an emotional, soft-hearted person. Then this friend got really very kind of influenced by this scene, and he went to sleep that night. And he saw a conversation happening. The Day of Judgment has already started. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is talking to this man face to face, one-on-one. And he said, why did you cry on the street that day? He named it the day. He said, out of fear from you, out of extreme respect and love and fear from this situation. He said to him, Ya Fatih wa izzati wa jalali, I take an oath by my majesty and my highness. This is Allah speaking. The last time that my angel has recorded, the last sin that has been recorded against you was 40 years ago. Imagine a man who has not committed a sin, one single minor sin for 40 years. 40 years. Never committed a sin. And he ended up crying with his blood, shedding blood from his eyes out of the fear and extreme respect and love to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Brothers, we live in a very critical situation. We take things lightly. We take things very easy. When people come and ask for halal and haram, about halal and haram, I just feel very concerned. If I give clear-cut answer, what will be the attitude of those people? Do you think they're going to give up Islam in total and say, man, I had enough of this, faith, everything? They say, they make life really very hard for me. But on the other hand, I can't open the door wide and say, man, just enjoy, do everything you want. That's all. I don't care. Just do it. We have to drop a line. We have to know our limits. We have to know that we are here to be tested, not to be enjoyed, not to be entertained. We are not here to entertain ourselves. We are here to be tested. What do you expect from a test? You need to be asked questions, and you need to know the answer, and you need to learn how to answer these questions. Things don't go just like that. So you expect some kind of discomfort, some kind of a struggle, some kind of inconvenience in the course of the test. Do not expect things to go smooth. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us some indication in everything in our life. Grab some kind of food that you like the most, you enjoy it. Okay? Put the food on the table. How much of this food you can eat? You will have to stop at some stage and say, I can't take it anymore. Why? Because that's it, finish. I have limits. Even you love it, you like it, you enjoy eating it, but you have to stop. Somebody is playing games and enjoying and he happy. For how many hours he can carry on and on? He has to go to the bathroom, he has to sleep, he has to take some rest, otherwise he will collapse, he will die. We cannot do anything forever and forever. We cannot do that. We have to drop a line. Allah is telling us that you are limited, you are restrained, you are restricted, you are not open or free to do whatever you want to do. You have to know your limits. And we have to know our limits in this life. Subhanallah. Look back at yourself 10 years ago. Remember, what do you remember 10 years ago of your life? 20 years ago, what do you remember of your life? And how much of the details can you remember and recall? And do you know what? If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow me and you to live another 10 years, how long these 10 years will take to go away or to pass? Just a blink of one eye. And I remind you, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me life and give you life, 10 years from today, if this video is there and you listen to it, you will live back and say, subhanallah, it was just like a blink of one eye. And our life will go like that. So stick to the truth. If everyone goes against the truth, you be the one who stand by the truth. And go against the falsehood, the batil, the injustice, even if everyone is doing it. Because a day will come, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already planned things to work this way. A day will come, as Rasulullah said, the name of Allah will not be mentioned anywhere on the face of earth. No one will say the word God or Allah whatsoever. The whole entire population of earth will be atheists, deny Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. None of them is going to believe in anything at all. This day is coming. Hopefully not in our time. Hold on to your faith. Hold on to your iman. Hold on to your belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And learn, understand that you will be tested. It's not going to be smooth. ألا إن سلعة الله غالية. ألا إن سلعة الله الجنة. Allah says, the Prophet ﷺ said, the commodity of Allah, the good that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put up for grabs or for sale is the Jannah. And it's expensive, it's not for free. So stand for it, work for it, and make sure that you do effort, that you can present to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, say, Ya Allah, I hold myself back from this. I was able to do this, but I don't do it. I was able to say that, but I hold myself back. Ya Allah, I was able to eat this, to do this, to earn this, to enjoy this, but I hold myself back and say, no, that's not for me, that's not me. I stand by the truth. I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching me. This is the thing that you present to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yes, you are part of the society, you are part of the community, you are here in New Zealand, everyone around you is not on the right path, everyone around you is not believing in Allah in the right way, everyone around you is telling you something that might go against what you believe in. So what you need to do in all of this mess, all of this confusion, is to stand by the truth. Standing by the truth, supporting the truth, is actually standing on the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I finish with this. The scholar said, إِذَا كَانَ اللَّهُ مَعَكَ فَمَنْ ذَا يَكُونُ عَلَيْكَ وَإِذَا كَانَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْكَ فَمَنْ ذَا الَّذِي يَكُونُ مَعَكَ. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is in your back, is supporting you, who do you think can defeat you, can overcome you? And if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not supporting you, who do you think can defend you and support and help you? So be always with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and make the right choice and make the right decision. The decision that will benefit you here and in the life hereafter. Not just in this world. And one day, me and you and the prophets and messengers, the rich and the poor, the young and the old, the men and women, everyone is going to stand in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah will question them about everything, and we will have to answer. Prepare the answer now, before it is too late to find something to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala which is not going to save. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keep us always safe. تكتب جزاكم الله خيرا. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم. اللهم عافنا واعف عنا وتب علينا وسامحنا واغفر ذنوبنا واستر عيوبنا وتول أمرنا يا رب العالمين. اللهم جازنا بالإحسان إحسانا وبالإساءة عفوا وغفرانا واجعلنا من عبادك الراشدين. اللهم ول أمورنا خيارنا ولا تول أمورنا شرارنا واحفظنا من كل شر وسوء برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.